Sew-alongs. What's the big deal? You see all the ads, people are jumping on board, your friends have joined in, you got a serious case of FOMO. If you've never done one before, there's things that you need to think about before, there's things that you should be doing during, and there's a way of dealing with the end. So grab your cup of coffee and stick with me while I show you how to do it. Hi, I'm Karen Brown of Just Get It Done Quilts. I give you tips, tricks, and strategies to help you make the quilts that you want to make. Quilt-alongs or sew-alongs or finish-alongs or sew-socials, they're all the same, and they have a wonderful momentum that you can get swept up in. You meet new online friends, it releases a ton of creativity and provides you with that energy and enthusiasm to get you to the finish line. And as a bonus, there's usually prizes to win. But to get the most out of your sew-along, there's things you need to do before, during, and after. So here are my top 10 tips. When you're thinking about joining a quilt-along, the biggest commitment on your behalf will be time. There's not only the time necessary to do the regular things like cutting and piecing and sewing, but there's additional time demands in taking photographs and posting them online. And those are all wonderful things. Participating in the conversation, getting inspired by other people's work, inspiring other people with your work. But maybe this time you don't have the ability to do the whole quilt. You're looking at your time schedule and you realize you're going into some birthdays, or your mother's having surgery, or it's going into a holiday, or a busy time at work. So be realistic before you go in. You don't need to make the whole quilt. You can more than likely just downsize it into a lap quilt or into a baby quilt, or just choose to make half the blocks if it's a sampler quilt. But you can also just be a cheerleader. Be one of those people that's just encouraging other people. You can even participate just as a lurker, which I have done 1 or 2 times. I just want to see what's going on. I want to be inspired by the creativity, but I actually just don't have time to commit to it. Is it going to cost you anything? You've got to buy the pattern, and that's totally okay. That's one reason why designers and people do it. But you may need other tools. You may need to buy templates or paper piecing pieces. But you also have the cost of the fabric. Are you shopping from your stash? You may need to buy backing. You may need to buy batting. And then of course there's the quilting fees if you send it out. So know your costs ahead of time so there's no surprises. And the third thing you need to know before you start is the skill level. The majority of quilt-alongs are designed to be advanced beginner, but often there may be some skill within that quilt, or it's a more advanced one, that you might need to learn. So you want to take a look at the administrator of the quilt-along to see whether they're going to be providing that instruction for you. If not, then you're going to have to look up some YouTube videos or take a class or ask a buddy for help. Start with a strategy, or you could call it a theme, but it's what's going to hold it collectively together for you. So some examples of themes: you're going to use up all your scrap, or you've got a fat quarter bundle that you've never found a home for and you're going to use it on this one, or this is a project that you're going to do with your best friend, or this is a quilt that you're giving to a particular person. The reason to have a strategy is there's going to be so many times along the way where it's just the thing that holds it all together. And as people are posting things online, that is going to be your thing. Give yourself a checklist. Now, the administrator of the sew-along should have a checklist for you, but that's probably going to be fairly broad, like what you need to be done by this week, and this week. Within that week, there are things that you are going to need. So maybe you do your cutting on this day and your blocks on this day, or maybe you do one block this day, one block this day, one block this day. Checklists can be really helpful in the soggy middle. Like at the beginning of a quilt-along, you've got all your momentum going forward. At the end of a quilt-along, you can see the end. But in the middle, it is your checklist that is going to help you see the momentum. And the checklist can be daily checklists or weekly checklists, but it just helps you see that progress to get you through. There's some of us that really get a thrill out of checking those boxes and seeing our progress. Don't panic when you fall behind. Life happens. You've got family, you've got work, you got weather, other things, and prevent you from going forward. Just accept that it's going to happen at some point in the quilt-along, and don't beat yourself up. When you do fall behind, just jump back in wherever the quilt-along is if you can. That way you stay current with the momentum of the quilt-along. You can participate in the current discussions and the current postings. Most well-managed sew-alongs will have built-in break weeks, and those are the weeks when you go back and catch up. Leave room for creativity. You'll be amazed at how inspired you become from your fellow quilt-along members. It will make you want to try new techniques. It will push you out of your comfort zone. Just go with it. Give it a try, test it out, and if it doesn't work out on a block, it's only one block. Style your posts. Usually to win any of the prizes on a sew-along, you need to post progress pictures of your work. So when you do, develop a particular style that's your own. Grab some props, find a background, figure out how you're going to label your work. Not only will you be eligible for the prizes, that way fellow sewers will recognize your work. And as they recognize your work, they'll be more comfortable commenting on your work. That's how you develop a following, and that's how online relationships grow. Follow the hashtag. At the beginning of every sew-along, the administrators will have 3, 4, maybe even 10 hashtags to do with the quilt-along. Follow them, and that way you see everybody's posts, and those posts, of course, will inspire you. So we get to the end of the quilt-along, and you have a brand new, finished, completed quilt, and you're eligible for the big prizes. Congratulations. But if you're like more than 50% of the people, you haven't finished yet. So what do you do now? Well, there's a number of things that you can do. Take your time, use the momentum that you have, use all your new online friends to encourage you along, and just go at your own pace to get to your own finish line. You can save it for next year. Chances are this sew-along will run again. Just use what you have and jump in the following year. Or you can make what you have. You can choose to take the blocks that you've finished and turn those into a quilt. Maybe it's a lap size, maybe it's a baby size, maybe it's only a pillow. So I have resisted jumping into a sew-along all year long. It's been tough, but I decided that I had so many UFOs that I needed to catch up on. I had a couple of other things going on in my life, and it was just not the time to commit to another project. But 2020 is coming, and I would like to participate in one, and I've chosen the Sugary Dew Quilt-Along. It is a mystery quilt-along, and I'm going to use it as an opportunity to use a color combination that I don't normally use. If you'd like to find out more about this quilt-along, check out the Sugary Dew YouTube channel. If you want to watch more of my videos, I'm going to link them right there. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell beside the subscribe button if you want YouTube to notify you when I make new videos. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Just Get It Done Quilt. And if you want to see an update on my room organization, go over to my blog at Just Get It Done Quilts. So take care, and I'll see you next time. Do you ever arrive somewhere and you wonder, where am I? And what am I supposed to be doing?